a powerful African moral story about pride, humility, and destiny. When a proud Lagos lady mocks an Uber driver for confessing his love, she never imagined that fate would humble her in the most unexpected way. The same man she humiliated publicly returns, not as a driver, but as her new boss. This emotional African story will leave you speechless and remind you that no one should ever be judged by their appearance or status. A lesson in humility, forgiveness, and the true meaning of love. A modern Lagos tale inspired by real-life experiences. Watch till the end. The twist will move you to tears. The early morning sun painted the streets of Lekki Phase 1 in golden hues as Adora strutted out of her sleek duplex, her heels tapping smartly against the interlocked driveway. Dressed in a fitted Ankara blazer and pencil skirt, she exuded elegance and pride, the type that came from living in a highbrow estate and working in one of the top investment firms in Lagos. Her makeup was flawless, her hair neatly styled in a braided bun, and her perfume filled the air like a silent declaration of superiority. A dusty Toyota Corolla stopped at her gate, the Uber driver stepping out to greet her politely. He was tall, dark-skinned, and simple in dressing, a clean white shirt and dark jeans, with kind eyes that carried quiet confidence. "Good morning, Ma," he said, opening the back door. "I'm your driver, Chike." Adora glanced at him briefly, her lips curling into a condescending smile. You're my driver? You don't even look serious. Why are you smiling at me like that?" she sneered, tossing her bag into the back seat. Chike chuckled softly, trying to stay polite. "No vex, Ma. I just stay happy to start my morning with such a beautiful passenger." "Excuse me?" Adora shot back. "Keep your flattery to yourself. Just drive. I'm not in the mood." As the car moved, Chike tried to lighten the mood, but Adora's arrogance filled the air like smoke. She scrolled through her phone, muttering about low-class people and cheap Ubers. Yet, behind Chike's calm smile, there was something deeper, an aura of quiet authority, a man who knew far more than he revealed. And in that car, beneath the hum of Lagos traffic, destiny began its quiet, humiliating dance. The ride ended at the glass-towered building of Horizon Investments. Adora stepped out with her usual air of superiority, checking her reflection in the tinted car window. "You can go now," she said coldly, slamming the door. But Chike didn't drive away. He got out, hesitating. "Madam Adora," he began softly, scratching the back of his neck. "I don't know if it's wrong to say this, but every time I drop you off, I feel something strong. You're different. I like you, not because you're fine, but because you have presence." Adora froze, her head turning sharply. "You what? You like me?" she asked, her voice laced with disbelief and disgust. "You, an Uber driver, think you can talk about love with me? Do you know who I am?" People nearby were starting to look. Adora's anger flared like oil to fire. "You are very stupid," she shouted. Before Chike could say another word, she reached for a bottle of water in her handbag and poured it over his head. "Let this cool your foolishness," she spat, storming off toward the building. Chike stood silently, water dripping from his face. He didn't shout. He didn't move. He only whispered, "Some lessons are learned the hard way." Then he got into the car and drove off slowly, his expression unreadable. By noon, the office was buzzing. Adora had told her colleagues how a mad Uber driver dared to confess love to her. The gossip spread like harmattan fire. Some laughed, others shook their heads in disbelief. "Not today, Uber drivers don't try nonsense," one of her coworkers joked. Maybe he thought she was lonely. Adora smiled proudly. Imagine the insult. Some of these people forget their level. Meanwhile, in the HR office, a quiet preparation was underway. Horizon Investments was about to welcome a new executive, the company's silent partner, returning from the UK to take charge of Lagos operations. The entire staff was told to prepare for his official unveiling. Adora didn't care. She was too busy basking in the attention her Uber story had earned her. She didn't know that fate had already drawn the next scene, and she was about to become the main actress in her own humiliation. The next morning, the atmosphere in Horizon Investments was electric. Staff hurried around with files and trays of juice. The new executive was to be introduced at noon. Adora wore her best outfit, a stunning purple and gold Ankara suit that hugged her curves perfectly. "Who knows?" she joked. "Maybe the new boss will finally notice me." When the time came, everyone gathered in the conference hall. The managing director stepped forward. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, "please welcome our new executive director, Mr. Chaik Obi." Gasps filled the room. Adora's smile froze as her world spun. The doors opened, and in walked the same Uber driver she had drenched in water. But now, he wore a crisp navy blue suit, his presence commanding. "Good afternoon, everyone," he said calmly, his eyes locking briefly on Adora. "I'm honored to join the team." The silence was deafening. Adora's knees nearly buckled. After the introduction, whispers erupted like rain. "Wait, so that Uber driver is our new boss?" "Ha. Ada go here and today." Adora tried to hide her trembling hands as she returned to her seat. Her colleagues watched her like spectators at a live drama. Chaik, on the other hand, remained calm. During the staff meeting, he addressed issues with grace and intelligence. He was articulate, confident, and strategic, nothing like the ordinary driver she had mocked. At the end of the session, he said quietly, "Before I leave, I'd like to remind everyone, treat people kindly, regardless of how they appear. You never know who's behind the wheel." The room erupted in quiet murmurs. Adora couldn't lift her face. She stared at the table, wishing the ground would open and swallow her. For days, Adora avoided eye contact with Chaik. She wished she could turn back time. But Chaik was not petty, his silence was worse. He spoke to everyone in the office, except her. During meetings, he acknowledged even interns, but skipped her contributions completely. When she spoke, he simply said, "Noted," and moved on. Her confidence began to crumble. Her friends at work whispered behind her back, mocking her fall from pride. Even the cleaners smirked when she passed. At home, Adora replayed the scene, the water, her insults, his calm reaction. Guilt gnawed at her heart. "Why was I so proud?" she muttered to herself. But Chaik's quiet demeanor made it worse. He wasn't vengeful. He was simply beyond her reach now, powerful, respected, and untouchable. A week later, HR informed Adora she'd be assisting the new executive director with a major presentation for foreign investors. She nearly fainted. "Me? Work with him?" "Yes," HR replied flatly. "He personally requested you." She walked into his office nervously. Chaik looked up from his laptop, expression calm but unreadable. "Sit," he said simply. The silence between them was thick. Finally, Adora blurted, "Sir, I want to apologize. I didn't know who you were that day." Chaik leaned back slowly. "So, if I were still a driver, your actions would be justified?" His voice was soft, but it sliced through her pride. Adora lowered her head. "No, sir. I was wrong." He said nothing, just resumed typing. The punishment continued in silence. Over the following days, Adora worked harder than ever. Chaik remained professional but distant. His calm intelligence made him even more intimidating. During presentations, he praised others' efforts but never mentioned her. Yet she noticed something: he was fair to everyone. He listened, guided, corrected, even inspired. Adora began to see him differently. He wasn't just her boss, he was a man of integrity. The more she observed, the heavier her guilt became. One evening, after the office emptied, she lingered by his door. "Sir," she whispered, "please can you forgive me?" Chaik looked up from his files. "Adora, forgiveness isn't something you beg for, it's something you earn." Her eyes watered. "Then let me earn it," she said quietly before leaving. And for the first time, Chaik's expression softened, just slightly. Chaik began testing Adora's sincerity. He assigned her to manage a major client alone. She was terrified but determined. The client was tough, arrogant, and dismissive, much like she once was. By the end of the meeting, Adora realized how it felt to be belittled. She returned to the office humbled, exhausted, and tearful. "Now I understand," she whispered. What I did to him was cruel. When she submitted her report, Chaik reviewed it silently. Good work, he said at last. You handled yourself well. The words felt like music to her ears. It wasn't praise, it was redemption. Office gossip took a new turn. Have you noticed Ada is suddenly humble? One worker said. Of course. She's trying to win the boss's favor. Another replied with a smirk. But Adora wasn't pretending anymore. Her heart had changed. She admired Chaik genuinely. Not as a rich boss, but as a man of wisdom and humility. Still, she avoided eye contact. She knew she didn't deserve his attention. Yet, fate wasn't done weaving their story. One afternoon, a board member insulted the office drivers, calling them nobodies. The words pierced Adora deeply. She stood up boldly. With all due respect, sir, she said, no human being is a nobody. Some people drive today and lead tomorrow. The room went silent. Chaik looked up at her, a faint smile tugging at his lips. It was the first genuine acknowledgement she'd received from him since the incident. She sat down trembling, but her spirit felt free. That day, Adora realized she was no longer the same woman who poured water on a man because he was beneath her. Trouble struck when an important investor threatened to pull out due to a mistake in the finance report. Chaik summoned Adora to assist him overnight. They worked till dawn, side by side. For the first time, they really talked. Chaik shared how he once drove Uber undercover to understand real people before taking over the company. Adora was speechless. So you did it intentionally? Yes, he said, smiling faintly. Power means nothing if you don't understand humility. Adaora's eyes glistened. I judged you so wrongly. He looked at her softly. Now you know. After the crisis was resolved, the company commended Chaik's leadership and Adaora's contribution. During the staff meeting, he said, there's someone here who has shown growth and strength. Miss Adora, thank you for your dedication. The entire office clapped. Adaora's eyes filled with tears. She met Chaik's gaze and saw forgiveness in it. For her, it wasn't just an acknowledgement. It was a new beginning. Days turned into weeks, and the tension between them softened into mutual respect. Chaik would occasionally smile at her, though subtly. Adora began to admire his patience, discipline, and humility. She realized love wasn't about class or cars, it was about character. And deep down, she knew she had fallen for the man she once humiliated. One Friday evening, Chaik invited the management team to dinner at Eco Hotel. Everyone came, including Adora. Midway through the meal, he raised a glass. To growth, to humility, and to the courage to change. His eyes lingered on Adora. She smiled shyly, knowing the toast was for her. That night, as she drove home, she whispered, Thank you, God, for giving me a second chance. The next week, Chaik asked Adora to join him on a corporate outreach project in Ibadan. They spent days together, mentoring young entrepreneurs. There, Adora saw another side of him, compassionate, gentle, and human. She found herself drawn to his heart, not his title. And though she tried to hide her feelings, he saw it, in her eyes, in her silence, in her changed soul. On their last night in Ibadan, they sat under the stars outside their hotel. Adora took a deep breath. Sir, I know I once mocked you, but now, I respect you, more than anyone I've ever met. Chaik smiled faintly. Respect is earned, Adora. And you've earned mine. She hesitated, then whispered, Maybe something more than respect, too. He turned to her slowly, eyes warm. Let's take it one step at a time. The night was silent, but their hearts spoke loudly. Back in Lagos, the bond between them grew naturally. They worked like a perfect team, efficient, respectful, and quietly affectionate. The office gossiped endlessly, but Adora didn't care. She had found peace in humility. Chaik noticed it too. Her smile had changed. Her confidence now came from grace, not pride. At the company's anniversary gala, Chaik took the stage. When I came here months ago, he said, I met different people, some kind, some proud. But one person showed me that change is possible. She reminded me that humility is the true measure of greatness. Then, in front of everyone, he turned to Adora. Miss Adora, thank you for teaching us all a lesson in transformation. The hall erupted in applause. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she stood, not in shame, but in honor. Months later, Chike and Adora began dating, quietly, respectfully, away from gossip. One evening, as they strolled near the Lekki shoreline, Adora whispered, "You forgave me when I least deserved it." Chike smiled. Because love isn't about status, it's about seeing the heart behind the mistake. She nodded, eyes glistening. And I learned that no one is beneath me, only the pride within me was. As the waves kissed the shore, their fingers intertwined, two souls transformed by humility, forgiveness, and unexpected love. Moral: never look down on anyone. The wheel of destiny spins faster than pride can imagine.